This is 4 quadrants and their signs for the trig functions. So I have here is our 4 quadrants, quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. For all of the x values, so this is like your x-axis going across, they're going to all be positive numbers. All of the y values going in a positive direction will also be positive. So that means, remember, your sine is your y value, your cosine is your x value, and then your tangent is y over x. So this would be positive, this would be positive, and also y divided by x would be positive. So everything that first quadrant for sine, cosine, and tangent would be positive. Now let's go on to the second quadrant. Now for the cosine, you're going into a negative direction, that's your negative x. So your cosine would be a negative. Your y value, you're going in a positive direction. So you have a positive y. So that you have a positive sine. And then to find tangent, it's y over x. So a positive divided by a negative would be a negative. All right, let's drop down to quadrant 3. Quadrant 3, on your x-axis, you're going in the negative direction. On the y values, you're going in a negative direction. So that means your sine, which is y, is negative, your cosine is negative, and your tangent, which is y over x, is a negative divided by negative equals a positive. Last quadrant here, we're going in a positive direction for our x, a negative direction for our y. So that means that this is our y and that is our x. So we're going to have a negative sine, a positive cosine, and to find the tangent, it's y over x, which is negative divided by a positive is a negative. So let's answer this set of questions. Number 1, when would the sine of theta be positive and the cosine of theta be positive? Which quadrant would that be true? So we want the sine to be positive, greater than 0, and the cosine. So we're talking the y values to be positive, the x values to be positive. So we're talking quadrant number 1. Positive x and a positive y. All right, second question. The sine of theta is going to be a negative, so negative y, and the cosine to be a negative y. So which quadrant is that true? So a negative x and a negative y. So negative x and a negative y. So this would be negative x, negative y, we're talking the third quadrant. So quadrant 3. Let's go down to question 3. Our sine is now a negative, so that means the y is negative. And our tangent is positive. So that means our y divided by x has to be a positive number, or a negative divided by negative x would also make that a positive number. So where is the sign a negative, less than 0? So we're talking values going in this direction. These are my negative y, so we're talking quadrant 4 or quadrant 3. Now for you to have a positive tangent, you'd have to have a negative y divided by a negative x. Here's your negative x. So it only can be true in this quadrant 3. So our answer is quadrant 3. Alright, it's going to erase a little bit of stuff here, it's kind of getting messy. Alright, last one. Secant is a negative. So secant, remember, is the reciprocal of the cosine. The cosine of an angle is 1 over the secant, so it's a negative. Or secant of an angle is 1 over the cosine. And that's a negative. So that means our x value has to be negative. So where is our x values negative? Negative has to go to the left, so it's going to be in quadrant 2 or quadrant 3 so far. That's the constraints. All right, now with this piece, the cotangent is negative. So that means your y and your x, one of them has to be a positive and one has to be a negative. So when is that true? That's true when this is positive y, this is negative x, so that would be quadrant 2, or positive x, negative y in quadrant 4. So which one happens in both cases? Quadrant 2. So our answer here is quadrant 2.